It's no secret that I'm currently leaning pretty PS5 heavy at this point in the game. I loved their showcase so much. But let me be perfectly honest with you and say, I'm getting both consoles no matter what. No matter what. So I want the Xbox Series X to be as amazing as possible. I want Microsoft to succeed as hard and as fast as possible. I want both of these platforms to be amazing because at the end of the day, two awesome consoles is better than one, and a plethora of amazing games is always preferred. What does Microsoft need to do to bite back? What do they need to do to bounce right back into this race? Because even though Sony seems to clearly have the lead, I mean, their view numbers and their love numbers are soaring right now after revealing Horizon Forbidden West, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that oh so sexy console. You won't convince me otherwise. I love that thing. Microsoft, though, isn't out of it. It's only June, my friends. There is a lot of game left to be played. This is basically the second quarter, maybe approaching halftime, but we still have a few months and then the pivotal pre-launch marketing cycle where they decide the games, the price, the release date, and then it all comes to fruition this fall. Everybody, make sure to smash that like button if you're excited for next gen like me. Let me know in the comments down below what you want to see from Microsoft. Here's my list. I think it starts with they gotta prove why the power of the Xbox Series X is important. I know they talked a lot about ray tracing and teraflops, but I feel like Sony so far has done a nice job of making that easy to digest. The SSD is their crown jewel, and it's gonna help eliminate loads and create very expansive, vast worlds that we can explore seamlessly. What does all the power of the Xbox Series X do? I know that their focus is on Game Pass, and I respect that. I think Game Pass is a great idea. It's so consumer friendly, and it's remarkable in what they're about to achieve, converting the Netflix system to major AAA, indie, and otherwise in between games. That's phenomenal. And the fact that they're going to play across all boxes, I think that's a brilliant idea, and I think it's going to make Microsoft a lot of money. But Mr. Phil, you don't need to buy our box this fall season if you don't want to, Spencer, needs to come out swinging and say why the extra oomph of the Xbox Series X is worth it. What is it going to do for us? They're talking about smart delivery, which is, again, a smart idea. Show us. Convince us that this extra power, that these more and more teraflops that they're merging into their console, that the difference between this generation and next generation is something worth paying for. Because right now I hear so much about, hey, you can play the games on the current system. Hey, you can play them on PC. Oh, you'll also be able to play them on Xbox Series X. At the end of the day, I want Microsoft to sell me their box. Why do I want to buy this? And then they got to bring the games. I mean, Sony came really, really close to delivering a near perfect lineup with an incredibly diverse array of genre representation. They hit all the demographics. And Microsoft's first display of games? Oh my gosh, who made that show? I mean, they had to come out and apologize on Twitter for delivering such an underwhelming presentation. No slight to the developers featured in their earlier games reveal, but you're gonna try and sell me a $500+ box and that's what you lead with? No, Microsoft, you gotta lead with Halo Infinite. And Halo Infinite needs to be the juggernaut it is possibly gonna be. It needs to hit that. There's potential there, and they have to deliver. That game has to be a killer app. We know that Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to be incredibly fun. It's pretty much guaranteed that Horizon Forbidden West is going to be huge and also very fun. Halo has seen ups and downs, and Halo Infinite is a chance for Microsoft to really cement Halo once again as the premier shooter franchise. Bring this bad boy back in bombastic, bold, badass fashion. Deliver us the greatest Halo yet. We really need to see an extensive look at single player and how it's different, not just the same Halo. Maybe they go real massive, it's more open world, side quests, side missions. They started to dabble in that recently and then scrapped it if you followed along the development of the recent entries. So I feel like a bigger and more expanded scope is going to be a part of this game. And then multiplayer has to look fresh, not just fantastic, but fresh. Why is this the time to reinvest your love into Halo? And why do you need to play it on Xbox Series X? Because you can get it on Xbox One or Xbox One X what makes it really purr on Xbox Series X. I think they also need to show some life outside of their already existing IP. We know there's going to be a Forza title. I'm sure Gears isn't far behind. Fable has been rumored, even Perfect Dark, and those are fine and fun, but I feel like Microsoft needs to really get us excited with something brand spanking new. In my opinion, Spider-Man and Horizon are far more relevant right now than a lot of what Microsoft has. And who knows, maybe they find a way to reinvent Fable and Perfect Dark in a style that is just stunning. But I'd love to see them really double down and say, you know what? We're going to be bold and create the first incredible epic of next gen. I loved in the Xbox 360 era how many franchises were formulated and how many came out to be these trilogies. And then this past generation, we got a lot of ones and twos, or just straight continuations like more Halo, more Gears. Time for something new. And I think Microsoft, it's pretty obvious they do not have the exact same firepower as Sony's first-party studios. I mean, PlayStation is relying so hardcore on the power of PlayStation Studios. They got that new nice label, that little intro screen is feeling like Marvel Studios, and they've got a superhero lineup to back up their words. Microsoft isn't gonna come as close as we'd like, but they can make up for it with some third-party games. Now, I don't know if they're gonna be able to throw their weight around like Sony did with the Bethesda exclusives. Grabbing Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo was surprising and star-studded. But Microsoft can do some damage and really win over some love by bringing in big third-party titles, even if they're multi-platform. Showing them first on Xbox Series X will go a long way to associating fans' mindsets with those games. Even for me, it's hard to not get excited if you're going to see the new Call of Duty on the MSoft stage. It's hard to not get excited if you're going to see Cyberpunk 2077. What does that game look like on next gen? We know CD Projekt Red is going to bring us a golden goose of a game with that expansive RPG on current gen in September. But when we convert that thing via smart delivery to Xbox Series X, how insane is it gonna be? Is this Witcher gone wild? I want to see what makes Cyberpunk different on Xbox Series X. And I think it would be great if they were able to leverage some of these third-party gets. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, bring it back. Real gameplay this time, not in-engine gameplay, real gameplay. Make me think that Xbox is the best place to play Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and Cyberpunk this fall. I think that's huge. I think that can really gain them ground in a way that they probably can't gain themselves with a ton of tentpole titles from big studios. I do hope they're working on stuff, and I need to see it, but third party will be very important. It's also very important that Game Pass is more than just a fun place to play Microsoft's games. Yes, it's awesome that Halo Infinite is day one on Game Pass, and that value is going to be supreme. And it's going to continue to get better and bigger as we move forward. Time progresses, Game Pass gets better. But I'd love to see them commit, or rather receive a commitment from a big studio and a big publisher to day one a game on Game Pass that isn't made by Microsoft themselves. I don't think they'll be able to grab something at the caliber of Call of Duty, of course, but if they could get like a Star Wars Squadrons type game, that would be fantastic. It was so cool to see the Outer Worlds hit Xbox Game Pass last fall. Do it again. Make me want not only Game Pass, but Series X for a fantastically high-powered next-gen experience you get for free. Because that's going to be massive. If we don't get the exclusives that Sony has, because we know that their first party is dominant, you got to make the value there. If it's all about bringing in all of your old games, everything works, everything runs, smart delivery makes sure you got the best version, then give me some more games that I can get to take advantage of that. And I'd love to see a free-to-play commitment to Game Pass as well, something exclusive. If Microsoft can't make exclusive themselves for a year or two, it's not stopping other third parties for delivering a little bit of love to the platform. Doesn't even have to be a next-gen only exclusive, although that's what I'd prefer. It just seems like Microsoft is not following that path whatsoever. I'd love something exclusive to Series X from a third party, like Deathloop is exclusive to PS5 and PC. But if they can't do that, maybe a free-to-play game or an iteration of a free-to-play game that's either a timed exclusive or a full exclusive to Game Pass and Xbox. That would be really important and make people feel better about buying something that plays all the same games that you can already play. Because at the end of the day, it's such a weird conundrum. I can play all the games that I'm telling you about on the console I have. It's sitting right there. I don't need to buy a new $550 box. But that does roll me into my new point. This powerful box, it's going to be expensive. And I'm going to get one. but they cannot at this point be any more expensive than Sony. They cannot be $1 more than a PS5, because I'm telling you, if they are more expensive than the PlayStation 5, which looks super sexy and has an incredibly sexy lineup and is pushing things with a new controller, a new UI, and an insane SSD, they are sunk, I feel. You gotta either go toe-to-toe or cheaper. I've heard some rumors as of late that the PlayStation 5 might be more than we think, especially as Jim Ryan tries to downplay price and upsell value. And we're talking value like, hey, there's so many great games and the experience is worth it. Is this an opportunity for Microsoft to undercut, or at the very least, go step in step? They have to. Even if their box is better, even if it costs more, I don't know the exact inner workings, they cannot be more expensive. And Lockhart presents a really interesting opportunity. That is their cheaper box that has been heavily discussed for a while, and it's supposed to be revealed, in fact, this month or sometime soon, maybe even before the July first-party showcase. Lockhart's an interesting one because Sony came out and surprised with 2 SKUs. Both have the same innards, the same specs. One is just driveless, which is going to allow them to shave about $50 off the final retail price point. The Lockhart box, though, is expected to be a much weaker system, which does not appeal to me and may not appeal to you. But what that's going to allow them to do is offer an entry point to next gen and the Xbox ecosystem, the Game Pass system that's going to have Halo Infinite, hopefully a third-party cool get, probably Forza and Gears, maybe Fable, and say, hey, for $300, you can get in. Now, it's going to get dicey when it's like, what's the difference between an Xbox One X and an Xbox Lockhart? How much more are you able to pack into a box for the same price as the system is right now? Or how much cheaper actually is Lockhart? If Lockhart is the same price as the digital PS5, I think it's dumb. A lower powered system does not do much for me, but if it's much cheaper than that digital PS5, now we're in an interesting situation. So Lockhart can be Microsoft's wildcard or completely worthless. If it's a similarly priced box with way worse specs or even less power, why? But if it's notably cheaper and it offers this entry point that I'm talking about, it could be a big win for the big green Microsoft team. Now, last but not least, an earlier release date is something that would be really, really juicy for Phil and his team. I don't know that it's possible, and usually these things release within a week or two of each other, but I've heard a little scuttlebutt that Microsoft could be targeting a far earlier release date. Now, this makes sense because they aren't delivering any next-gen only games, so perhaps they need less development time, and maybe they just want to get things going because it kind of merges with the current ecosystem of gaming as is. If they're able to launch a month or around that time frame earlier than Sony, that's a big get, because people like me are chomping at the bit for next gen. And if you're presented with 2 options and they're close and they are able to deliver on the games, that's going to come first. What they show off in July is huge and the price is the same. And Game Pass is cooking. And Halo Infinite is the infinite Halo we need it to be. Then an earlier launch date in October or even the end of September, that would be a shocker, because then you're tempted and it's on store shelves and you know you've got access to tons of teraflops and the future of gaming, and it's there, it's tangible, you can reach it, or you can wait for the PS5. But impulse buys are a thing. Even in a year like this, there will be some people that need to have it now, and getting out ahead of the Sony next-gen power train that they're seeming to push, I think that'd be super smart. Unlikely? Probably very slim chance, but it would go a long way. That's what Microsoft needs to do for me to bounce back. They got to go big on the games. They got to prove why their system's power matters in a way that makes sense to the average gamer, and they got to show it. Don't care if it's third party, first party, don't care if it's cross-gen, don't care if it's last-gen. Show me why your power matters, and then send it home with Game Pass and some knockout exclusives, even if they're not from Microsoft Game Studios, which I want to see no IP. I want to get something extra good to make this the value system. If Jim Ryan is talking value in terms of all those big exclusives that you're going to have to buy, then show me value in terms of what I don't have to buy. I subscribe to Game Pass and I'm good. Lock me in with some third-party exclusives, a free-to-play freebie, and a really good list of big titles coming this fall. I think Xbox can do it, and I want them to. They definitely are facing an uphill battle right now after that Sony showcase, but I'm ready for the bounce back. I'm ready for this thing to enter the fourth quarter much more even. So let me know what you need to see from Microsoft in the comments down below. What do you hope to witness from Xbox Series X to even this thing out? Hit that like button if you're excited for next gen like me. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you here on XPForce, bringing new content all the time, covering everything next gen. And believe me, we're going to have an Xbox Series X, we're going to have an Xbox Lockhart, we're going to have a PS5, we're going to have a digital edition, we're going to compare them all, we're going to show you what you need to buy, what's most important, and what the best, most fun games are. Can't wait for that moment. Until then, though, thanks so much for being here. Turn that notification bell on so you can hear as soon as this new Microsoft conference is announced. I got you covered. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe and stay healthy. The next gen is here, baby, and I can't wait to share it with all of you.